Welcome back. So, we get a question a lot. Why does the quest UI in your videos look so damn good? Well, I've got the answer to that for you, but also a whole bunch more. Did you know that WoW has got a photo mode? And no, I don't mean the selfie camera, I mean a fully fledged photo mode. You can put on any transmog item from the game, load in NPCs to pose with, even set a green screen. You can select animations, pause them, you can control lighting, and do goddamn nearly anything. Kinda lied. It's not in World of Warcraft itself, but it is a small part of what may be the best WoW add-on ever seen, Narcissus. And that add-on is itself only one part of that developer's library. That developer is Peter Yu, and it does seem he's on a crusade to fix WoW's UI. His suite of add-ons are incredible, game-changing in their approach, and this is the kind of stuff that frankly just gets me excited. If you were here back in Legion, you will have remembered me spending dozens of hours tweaking with UI, and to be real, I never imagined anything this good. Narcissus is his flagship add-on, and this is, it's the add-on of all time if you just want to see all the hard work that you put into your character. Just look at this. The smooth fade, the camera control, the gentle panning, the reimagined tooltips with beautiful fonts, sizes, and colors, and then full-on added features like comparing item stats by actual percentage, or say checking where an item drops from. This visualization of stat weights that is just satisfying to look at, and this beautiful gem management UI that straight up takes all the pain out of managing gems in your character. It is so handy. Hell, just take a look at the details here. Even this title swapping dropdown, it's so well implemented. They're categorized by source and everything. You can then even set yourself things like an alias for screenshots. There's an improved equipment manager as well. Just look at it, it's lovely. It tells you the two main stats of a set, all with gorgeous animations and sounds. It just feels so AAA. Now, maybe you're not into that fancy stuff. That's still fine. There are nice, simple benefits and features as well. Look at this tier set marker on the character pane, or perhaps this talent tree pop out for when you're switching your loadouts. Or this, it's a barbershop fix that lets you actually store and share looks across characters. Man, it's crazy. It's hard to believe that the game doesn't have some of these features, but the good news is, Peter's built them for us, and it looks exactly like it fits in-game. It is so well done. I'm going to end on a personal favorite that actually does augment your WoW experience a lot. So whenever you pick up a quest item, this shows a reskinned tooltip that actually lets you read the item description. And that's big. So much lore and flavor is just buried in item descriptions. Players never see that stuff, but Narcissus ensures that the hard work that's went into those items doesn't go to waste. Of course, there's also Mod Remix, so if you're a Remix player, you probably already use Narcissus, because it's just straight up the greatest add-on ever for that mode. It shows you the amount of threads that you've got, and it's got full support for gem loadouts. So with it, right, you can socket all different types of gems from this nice little menu, instead of dealing with, basically, Blizzard's 17-year-old nightmare system. It is so much better. If you do want to dig in though, check out this photo mode. This is cracked! The amount of options here. It is almost a full, animatic creating system that just happens to exist here. So if you have an idea for a complex scene, you can just go and make it with in-game assets. It's crazy. Maybe you just want to gush over a pretty picture of your character, make a cool banner for your Twitter, maybe your profile picture. You can do that with Narcissus. It is amazing. Now, it does take a little bit of time to learn where all the buttons are, but that's just because it has so many features. Lighting control, shadow placement, it's got an animation timeline, so you can select the very frame that you want. Literally, I use this to do thumbnails sometimes because the control is that good. And best of all, it gets regular updates, like a whole new trading post module that was added last month. So it is an understatement to say that this is professional level software, and it's just one of Peter's add-ons. Dialogue UI, that's the one you were all asking about, and it's what it sounds like, a replacement UI for dialogue and quest text. So take a look at this, right? The texture work just beats the default quest pane by a mile. It looks gorgeous. Then there's the camera zoom. This really lets you see the character that you're talking to. And that might seem like a small thing, but it actually does make the basic second-to-second, questing and narrative stuff of WoW just work a lot better. It's of course got very pretty dark modes and light modes and a ton of other features. Scroll wheel support, hotkey support, text-to-speech, and a bunch of other things as well. Now, there are a few add-ons that do this kind of thing. Matt has been a sworn immersion user for years. I've also been using immersion for years. And really that was to the point where both of us kind of dismissed dialogue UI I mean, for no good reason other than we had a thing that we liked. But seriously, after he used it for a bit during his beta story playthrough, he basically said to me that it's never worth going without it, and it is absolutely what I'm going to be using going forward. Reading tons of quest text in this format is just so much of an improvement, and there is a lot of really good text to read, actually, as you go through War Within. Now, Matt does have some tips for you. So, number one, if the default zoom is too aggressive, you can try the horizontal option. It's less sudden, but it still brings things nicely to focus on the NPC. There's just a ton of detail in like characters and the surroundings in War Within, so this just helps you catch more of the stuff that Blizzard, actually went and developed for us. And that means that this add-on is a 5,000 out of 10 recommendation. I think writing in World of Warcraft is actually going in a better direction. There's lots of strong stuff in the War Within, so you should absolutely use this because it helps that work shine. And between this and Narcissus, WoW just starts to feel like it's a modern premium game instead of one that's basically just grappling with foundations that are 20 years old. Dialogue UI is what I'll be using for War Within, and I highly recommend you use it as well. If, though, it's not quite your style, I also highly recommend Immersion. It's a fantastic add-on and totally worth your attention. As is the third and final add-on from Peter. It's called Plumber, and it's a collection of small surgical fixes. Now, the key thing is those fixes are in the same amazing UI style as the other add-ons. Take a look at this talking head replacement that replaces the talking head frame with this beautifully animated minimalist text. It's fantastic. Or even this Dreamseed UI that makes the Emerald Dream stuff just, I don't know, prettier, smoother, it feels more polished. Then I think my personal favorite is the event toast fix. Just look at this. These event pop-ups can now be dismissed with a right click or just clicked through with a left click. That's so much nicer. And another solid tweak is the addition of your best medal to dragon riding races. Is that a game changer? Is that a crazy new bit of functionality? No, not really. But that's also not the point. Applying smart user experience fixes is basically Peter's modus operandi, and that makes the second-to-second everything in WoW feel better, feel more polished. So you can see Plumber is basically just doing little laser-targeted things to make little bits of WoW feel nicer. I'm pretty excited about that, and to be honest, given that War Within is doing a pretty good job on just changing up the UI, right? Like they're adding in new icons, there's a legend on the minimap. I've got to imagine that with all of that new stuff to cook with, Peter will be able to do some pretty damn cool stuff. So the point today is that using Peter's set of add-ons results in a much prettier and much more usable WoW. Sometimes when we talk about add-ons, there's a lot of people who say, I would rather die than install an add-on in WoW. It turns into this crazy hardcore orthodoxy. But a lot of those criticisms of add-ons, they're really about the impact of add-ons on encounter design. Those actual gameplay things. You see this is just flat out a better designed version of loads of UI features. Now, obviously for Blizzard, they've got to ship a lot of features. They have a lot of teams. Sometimes they don't have time to do the nice to haves. And basically that's what I love about Peter's work. He's done those nice to haves, and I really appreciate it. Now, we're used to UI replacement add-ons basically doing one of two things. They can be gorgeous, or at the very least interesting, but actually just struggle with usability, or they can forgo fantasy aesthetics to be super usable, like Elv UI. I mean, I remember the likes of shadowed unit frames and Xpearl. Obviously, no harm to the devs there. It was a different era, and there is so much power and function there. So many fixes to functional issues that the base UI had for decades. But honestly, what this does is kind of just a new generation. Because WoW isn't a piece of productivity software. It's not purely defined by game features that are implemented. A lot that matters is the little details, the polish, and I think a lot of polish and a lot of genuine artistry has went into these add-ons, and that just makes WoW feel honestly, a more premium experience. Add-ons are all about making the game better at the end of the day, and I think very obviously Peter's work, it's not DBM or weak ores in how much the game has changed. They're not details in how key they are to actually playing World of Warcraft, but they just make playing the existing game more enjoyable in small, key ways. And I think sometimes a big difference is made up by lots of tiny little changes. So much so that when you uninstall his add-ons, the game just kind of feels a bit bare and naked. So, as you're getting ready for War Within, definitely consider trying out Peter's stuff. I don't mean to put him in a pedestal or anything. This is more just about highlighting some awesome work that he has done for free to make the game better. So, you can check them out, you can download them, but also brace yourself because earlier this year, he tweeted this: I'm preparing a fully immersive leveling experience for the next expansion with Azerite UI, Dynamic Cam, and this name undecided add-on. So yeah, I sure do wonder what he's been cooking. So I hope you found this video interesting, I hope you learned something new, and absolutely firm handshakes all round to Peter. Well done, sir. That's it for today's video. I'll see you again next time.
Mm-hmm.